online and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
Dozens of parents are worried after learning that their daycare will be closing its doors in a matter of months.
Atonement Daycare in South Fargo lists on its website that it has a capacity for 150 kids and has notified parents of the major change. Valley News Team's Katie Opperly looks into the impact.
Dozens of parents in the FM area are scrambling right now, looking for a new daycare option. Atonement will no longer be offering daycare. Instead, they'll be focusing on their preschool sessions. The deadline to find a new daycare for these parents is just months away in August.
Just confused. I don't think anybody really knows what they're going to do. It's going to be a big change.
Tristan Ball's child attends this daycare, and she tells us parents have turned to Facebook, frantically looking for a new place to go, but have been facing a lot of dead ends as daycares are full.
I've definitely seen that they're all in shock. They're all looking. Everybody's kind of in a frenzy.
She says Atonement is the only daycare she's ever been to, adding it's hard to leave a place she says has been like a second home for them and other families.
I know multiple families that have been there for 10 plus years, then all of their kids have been through, and I don't know, it's going to be a tough change for, I think, a lot of people.
Some parents with multiple children tell us this change is causing families to be split apart, as some remain in preschool while their sibling will no longer be accepted for daycare.
Hopefully some of them will be able to stay together.
Families were alerted about the upcoming changes through a letter on Friday, but the families say they're still surprised about how quickly these changes are being implemented. In Fargo, Katie Opperly, Valley News Live.
We did ask Atonement just how many families are being impacted by the changes and why they decided to exclusively focus on preschools. They said they don't have the answers for us yet.
New information tonight out of Richland County involving a wrongful death lawsuit involving a 20-year-old man. A judge has dismissed the case. Andrew Sadek was a first-year student at NDSCS. He was also an undercover informant after being detained for selling marijuana on campus. In 2014, Sadek was found dead in the Red River with a gunshot wound to his head. Sadek's parents filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Richland County and Richland County Sheriff's Deputy Jason Weber. That's the deputy who recruited Sadek as an informant. Sadek's parents say that they plan on appealing the judge's decision.
A former Western North Dakota deputy who admitted sexually assaulting a 15-year-old boy has been sentenced to 3 years in prison. 54-year-old Richard Anderson was accused of showing the boy gay porn and having the minor stay at his house and engage in lewd conduct. Anderson pleaded guilty to several charges in January. Today, he apologized to his family, friends, and the victim.
To the victim, I would like to say I am very sorry. I should have never allowed this to happen, and I hope and pray that you can overcome this.
Anderson must also register as a sex offender.
Mandan is facing a federal lawsuit after telling one of its bar owners they had to remove a mural from an outside wall. Lonesome Dove bar owners say that the city's rules on murals and signs are prior restraint, making them unconstitutional. While city commissioners say that the bar is violating a current ordinance, they are willing to consider altering the language.
I didn't think it'd get this big, but I'm not sorry it did.
Why's that?
Because it's hopefully to benefit a lot of people. But let's go through the process of maybe redefining that, relooking at it, or amending it, or what have you, and our commission is open to that.
The bar has the backing of a Virginia-based nonprofit group called Institute for Justice.
Abortion remains one of the most divisive topics in America today. Both sides crossed paths tonight in downtown Fargo.
Valley News Team's Callie Hubbard was there as they met face to face.
As expected, both sides of the abortion debate wanted the other side to know where they stand. And they made their stands outside North Dakota's only abortion clinic. Earlier, pro-choice supporters rallied at Island Park, similar to the Stop the Ban rallies that were held across the country.
We have a great turnout tonight. I think it's great. It represents what the people actually believe. 7 out of 10 people, or 7 out of 10 Americans believe that abortion should be safe and legal. The repeal of Roe v. Wade is not something that the general public wants.
Pro-lifers continue to spread their message, advocating for efforts in states like Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio, where abortion bans were passed.
I believe that people will start realizing scientifically, these are human beings in the womb, that, they are, the defenseless, the weakest of us all, and they should be protected the most. I mean, these are our next generations that need protecting.
Organizers on both sides vowed that these rallies won't be the last here in Fargo or elsewhere in the United States. In Fargo, Callie Hubbard, Valley News Live.
Fargo police are on hand to prevent trouble between the two sides. Despite some people driving by and yelling obscenities, there didn't appear to be any arrests. Meanwhile, abortion rights supporters are considering legal action over a state law that would require the clinic in Fargo to read women a scripted notice that the clinic director calls not medically accepted. The law is slated to go into effect August 1st. North Dakota's Attorney General Wayne Stenjum says he will be required to defend the bill if a lawsuit is filed.
Ward County commissioners honored a deputy for his efforts in responding to a drug overdose last year. Ryan Summers and 3 others who responded administered Narcan to a man who rescue crews originally suspected was having heart issues. All 3 received the Colonel's Award of Excellence from the Highway Patrol last week.
I realized that instead of a heart incident, it's probably an overdose. Deputy Summers administered a dose of Narcan.
The rescue happened last November.
As if this spring wasn't stressful enough for farmers in the valley, one man has discovered a deep freeze and other junk in his ditches. And it's not a new problem for other farmers.
It happens all the time. We're cleaning stuff out of the road ditches all the time, whether it's fridges, TVs, couches, dehumidifiers. It happens all the time.
Another farmer says he found an ice house and dishwashers. Cass County authorities say catching those responsible for dumping and ditching is difficult. If they are found, they'll have to pay at least a $200 fine and compensate the farmer for any cleanup fees. This story came to us through our whistleblower hotline, and if you need help uncovering fraud or corruption in your community, call our whistleblower hotline at 701-237-6576 and leave your tip. A member of our investigative team will get on the case and go to work to expose the truth.
We have a story of heroism from the nation's capital tonight involving a Roseau, Minnesota man. Alexander Gooding is a World War II and Korean War veteran.
He's originally from New York, but he ended up in Germany tracking down Nazis. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer has this man's brave story.
We were just behind the lines and running like hell when the Germans were still shooting at us.
Alexander Gooding has lived a long, impactful life. He joined the Army at a young age and went to Germany near the end of the Holocaust.
My job was to find out who the Nazis were, arrest them, and turn them over to other authorities, and they were tried.
During his time over there, he saw the unimaginable.
Jewish people all over were all destroyed. Children, no bigger than that, were executed.
Closely spaced vertical columns provide the load-bearing strength instead of the customary interior steel skeleton.
And after returning to the States, his mark on the world grew even bigger.
When you were in New York, did you help with some construction of a building, I heard?
World Trade Center.
Gooding eventually made his way to Minnesota. That's how he got the opportunity to come to D.C. on the honor flight at 91 years old. In fact, this is his first time back to D.C. in nearly 30 years. And now, roaming around the World War II Memorial, Gooding tells us it's a bittersweet feeling.
We won't forget it. We'll tolerate it, but we'll forget it.
In Washington, D.C., Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live.
And after moving to Minnesota, Gooding says he worked as an iron worker for several years. He'll be turning 92 in a couple of months. Look for another story from this most recent North Dakota and Minnesota honor flight Sunday night on Valley News Live.
Valley News Live 10 at 10 continues with No Wait Weather.
All right, thanks for joining us on Valley News Live. Things are changing as we speak with a very strong and potent storm system rolling through the Central Plains right now. It's causing snow in the elevated terrain of the Black Hills of South Dakota and the Rocky Mountains of Wyoming. Severe weather now rolling into southern parts of Illinois, and we have heavy rain in eastern and northern South Dakota that is now pushing up into the I-94 corridor. We see some moderate showers of rain just to the south of the FM area. Sisseton with the yellows and oranges down there. Things are a little bit heavier. And taking a closer look, this whole swath of rain is moving to the northeast at 21 miles per hour. So within the hour, it will be approaching the I-94 corridor. A heavier band of rainfall extends through the Lisbon area on towards Edgeley, Ellendale, and western parts of Dickey County as well. A time lapse showing the clouds getting a little bit lower as we enjoyed a fairly quiet day. But looking out at the Dakota Magic Casino, things there a little windier and certainly wetter with some wind-driven rain out there. And wind is going to be a problem during the overnight hours. We are holding on to 61 degrees in Fargo with an east wind, which is gusting. And right now is at 16 miles per hour. It is stronger down in South Dakota, Aberdeen right now, having gusts to 45 miles per hour. With temperatures in the 60s in the valley and in northwest Minnesota, a lot of 40s down to the south where things are getting wet as we speak. Here's a look at that snowfall off to the west in Rapid City and in the Black Hills, also to the mountains to the west of you in Casper, Wyoming, and severe weather in the nation's midsection for the second straight night, causing tornado warnings. And these are again taking place in southern parts of Illinois as they pass through the St. Louis area. Here's a look at your hour-by-hour forecast as we go through the overnight. The bands of heavier showers will extend northward toward the Highway 2 corridor. By daybreak, many of us heading out the door will need that umbrella, or make sure you check that washer fluid in the vehicle. Now, overnight, all night, those gusty winds will be persistent, gusting to around 40 or 45 miles per hour for many in North Dakota, even a little stronger down near the South Dakota border. The first half of your day as we go into the midday hours shows rain bands continue to swirl their way around the area of low pressure, and our rain chances will last the better part of the day. And again, since they begin and are heavier in the southern valley, before they move to the north, the totals will likely be loftier in the south. Finally, by late tomorrow evening, after a very soggy, gray, and windy day, the rain starts to let up, as do the winds. It will be a cool one as well, with temperatures peaking only in the 50s. A wide area will get a half of an inch to an inch of rainfall in the old rain gauge, and where you see the greens, a shot at nearly an inch, including here in the FM area. Maybe even a little more down by the South Dakota border. So starting out near 50, cloudy, gusty winds over 30 miles per hour through the first half of the day. Rain chances continue, but late in the day, they end, as does the gusty nature of the winds. Temperatures only in the upper 40s and low to mid 50s at best for your day tomorrow. Here is a shot taken by Erica, the Wahpeton area. Beautiful barn in the rising sun, I should say. Okay, after a soggy and drippy Wednesday, things quiet down on Thursday, but it's not going to be a long stretch of dry weather. Another very good chance on Friday to close out the work week of wet weather. Widespread rainfall, likely not quite as heavy as what we're experiencing tonight and through the day tomorrow. Saturday looks pretty nice, 71. Most of Sunday, pretty good. Spotty showers in the forecast. We do cool off for your Memorial Day on Monday.
It's not a bad weekend.
No.
Thanks.
You bet.
Later on Valley News Live at 10, what new research is saying about the number of teenagers with high cholesterol.